Hello everyone and welcome to FiST Chat, the vodcast that features discussions on the topics of film, science and technology. My name is Ben Warner and I'm joined once again by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern. And Steve, I think our odds are good that we'll make it through to the end of this episode, we hope, and maybe we'll have some techniques to share with people on how we'll do it. How are you doing today, Steve?
I'm very well. Hello FiST Chat fans. It's odds on here. You can bet on it.
Absolutely. Before we get into that, don't forget our website, www.fistchat.com. You can get all our links there. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Love to hear from you. Interact with us there too. You can catch all of our back episodes on YouTube, Vimeo and Digicosm TV via video. And you can also subscribe to our audio via iTunes, RSS and Feedburner. And make sure to check out our weekly blogs, which we continue to pump out on a weekly basis, just like our episode here. So we're talking about gambling today and how possible scientific and technological methods could be used to improve your odds. Sounds a bit hokey to me because the casino always wins from what I've seen.
They wouldn't be there if they didn't.
And I'm sure they're using all sorts of scientific and technological methods to beat you as well, including whatever mathematical calculations of odds that they've got stacked in their favour.
Wow, that's right. They use a number of other techniques besides just having the odds stacked in their favour. They do all sorts of things at tables. The way games are played, the layouts, all done to increase the odds in their favour.
And in an unrelated topic, even Feng Shui, as far as I've heard. Apparently, if you walk into Crown Casino, everything is stacked against you in terms of design. So
perfect. House rules.
Absolutely. Now, just if we move to this ABC article that we came across just for this topic, basically. The suggestion in this article was thinking like a physicist can improve your chances of winning at roulette. And a paper in a recent issue of the journal Chaos shows how a computer program can be used to give an expected return of at least 18% instead of the usual minus 2.7%. Now, basically, the problem here, though, is that we're not talking about, doubling down and, instantly getting, your returns. I think what they were talking about was that for every dollar you spend, it's possible to get $1.18 back, which is better than what you would expect because, usually you walk out with nothing. And usually the usual odds are for every dollar you spend, you only get 97.3 cents back, which obviously is a losing formula.
That's pretty good, though. I think there are a lot of casinos you might come out at around 87 cents for every dollar you spend, but maybe that's just my track record.
But the thing that amused me about this is that the idea that you could go in and, take into account every single variable that would go into the spinning of a ball on a roulette wheel to, it wouldn't be accurately predicting. You would only sort of be guessing roughly in which section it would be falling into. I mean, who could be bothered doing all of that? And are you capable of doing all of that? And on top of that, whether you can or can't or whether is the casino going to let you, which of course they're not.
Well, this is interesting because there are people out there. I think this is what this paper is actually about. There are people out there, and basically in roulette, you've got your croupier who spins the ball against the rotation of the wheel. The ball eventually hits a deflector, which separates the numbers and then comes to rest. And what they're saying is that by using timing devices, whether it's a laser, I think, to counter, or a shoe computer, I think you tap your foot or something like that, you can actually use those techniques to improve your chances. And what they're saying is that if you bet long enough, if you have a bankroll big enough and you bet long enough, you'll probably come out well ahead using those techniques. I don't think they actually condone it, and I don't think they actually give you any advice on how to use it. But it's interesting that they've obviously heard about people using those techniques, and they've verified them.
Yeah, exactly. But on top of that, I guess it kind of takes some of the thrill out of the gambling side of it. It's kind of a slow slog if you were to go by what they were saying. Like
Well,
you said,
look,
you'd have a lot of money and a lot of time on your hands, then maybe you can do it.
I think there's the old saying, isn't there, that if you're a gambler and you lose, it's just bad luck. But when you win, you're just a genius with a whole load of skill. Unfortunately, using lasers and shoe computers, there's no expertise, there's no skill in that. So it really would be a bit of a boring way to win, unless, of course, you're out there to rip the casino.
Which is that's always a good motivation, isn't it?
Well, it is. And I mean, as you said, the casinos have got their odds stacked against you. And I have heard and possibly I've witnessed croupiers who could actually spin numbers or very close to them on the roulette wheel.
Well, I've heard that croupiers, inexperienced croupiers in particular, are the ones that a lot of players like to go to because they tend to inadvertently spin up the same sections all the time on a roulette wheel. And I can never forget, there was one time I was just down at the casino here, and basically there was a run of 4 or 5 zeros in a row, and it was generating foaming at the mouth frenzy by all the players.
Would have cleared that table pretty quickly, I suspect.
Oh, absolutely. And then as soon as that 36 came up, everyone disappeared. But it was an amazing thing. But I think in those 4 or 5 hands, the casino did lose a bit of money. I can guarantee that, because there was a lot of chips moving around and it was going away from the dealer.
Well, there you go.
Just on a related thing, off the iScienceTimes.com website, there was they talk about this as well. But one thing they did say was that you can improve your odds if there is a slight tilt or imbalance in the roulette wheel. That will improve your chances. In other words, a crooked table. Whether that works or not, or how long a casino will allow that to continue, who knows? Maybe.
Well, I thought casinos actually measured the biases on their wheels every day. I mean, they can't afford to have anyone winning.
Absolutely. They'd have their rulers out and whatever else that they use to make sure it's level.
Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, it's I don't know where. It's like anything. I mean, we'll talk about, blackjack later and counting cards. It's sort of in that vein, isn't it? That as long as there's this suggestion that you can make money, from the casino or win it, people are going to have a shot at trying to get there. But I think these days, especially in light of, the post-GFC world that we're living in, it's probably not so much that it'll be easy to do this sort of thing anymore.
I guess the idea for the recreational gambler has always been risk versus reward. It's a innate skill that has helped us evolve over time. Where we can size up the risk versus the opportunities and the rewards that will come from it. So we go to a casino, we gamble a little bit of money and hope to win a big reward. If we actually sat down and thought about the odds, we'd realise they're not very good. And that, really, if we win at all, we should probably leave immediately, because the longer we gamble, the more likely we are to lose. Interestingly, though, if we transferred probability like this, exactly the way the casinos play, to our own personal lives and took into account all of the odds that would come in our favour from making certain decisions, whether it's health, lifestyle, financial or other, we'd actually, over time, over the course of our lives, probably come out ahead by making correct decisions more often than not. So, I mean, if there's something we can learn from casinos, it's that if you always play or make a decision where the odds are in your favour, you're going to get the results that you want over time. So, very interesting.
Absolutely.
Not all bad.
It's not all bad. All right, we'll move on to our news bites now. And 21, the movie that was out a few years back, basically to do with a MIT card counting scheme that a group of young kids went in and they were going to scope the casino out. Movie itself, I think, was a little dull from memory. It wasn't all that exciting, but it did highlight, which, to be honest, I really couldn't understand, with Vegas, casinos, gambling, and attractive people, how that could be dull, but they did manage to make those things dull. But anyway, that's another story. But it's actually based on a book by Ben Mesrick, Bringing Down the House, and he was taught that basically a lot of what happened in that book is what was translated into the movie. And the idea was, this idea that at a time when, he wanted to capture that idea that, it's like a David and Goliath battle, these guys, that are super smart can just go in and just rip off the casino, and everyone's cheering them on.
Well, I mean, that is a nice story because, card counting, while it might not be in the spirit of the game according to the casino, it's a skill, and it's a skill that if you use gives you an advantage, and does give you an advantage over the house, which is a fair call. I mean, if you actually do the calculations, the people that can actually card count and play blackjack very well are quite small in numbers. So even with the few card counters that are out there in disguise right now trying to avoid casino security, the odds are still in the house's favour.
Absolutely. I think, and on top of that, the more decks that are used on a table, the worse it gets. And I noticed that Vegas had 6 decks that they were using on a lot of their blackjack tables, whereas a lot of the casinos here, they use 8. So I'm sure that's not an accident.
I guess not.
Absolutely. We'll move on to our science news bite now, and ScienceDaily.com is talking about. There's an article there about what brain regions and the way they're used, that sort of studying that to see how it influences gambling decisions, and how they claim to have pinpointed this. It's the idea that on learned behavior you're likely to keep going down a certain path, but when you're gambling you're actually not doing that sort of rational thinking. For example, if you're seeing a run of black, you'll maybe then go for a red because you think at some point it'll change, but that's not really based on anything concrete or specific or rational.
They're all fallacies. They're all things that we see patterns where there are no patterns, and because we want to win so much, we override the risk. I mean, the odds are, no matter how much you want to win, you can't change the odds. And if somebody in a casino, if the house has a better hand than you have, or if you choose to bet a 1 in 36 chance, you have a 1 in 36 chance.
That's right.
And that means that you're going to have to bet 36 times just to maybe have a hope of winning once. You may have to bet 336 times before you hit a winner.
Absolutely. All right, we'll move on finally to our tech news bite, and this one's a bit of fun. And before I get into that, from Gizmodo Australia, 7 casino technologies they don't want you to know about. And this was a lot of fun. License plate readers, they can read serial offenders as you enter the car park. Biometric face recognition, they can read you as you're walking through the door and turn you around if they don't like you. And all sorts of other things like this on Table I-21. It combines several technologies into a single service. An overhead video camera keeps track of the action, and using a mixture of video analysis software and information from chips, it's able to overlay the video feed and real-time information of the cards being dealt and the chips being wagered. I mean, that's fairly starting to get fairly technical with some of these things, but it really they really know how to use all that technology to their advantage.
Well, I guess they make enough money to be able to afford this sort of technology to keep them winning.
Yeah,
I mean, as I say, if they weren't winning, they wouldn't be there.
Exactly, they wouldn't be in business. And just finally, they've got a good old-fashioned one, and that's security. Go into any casino in the world and they've got a lot of security on hand ready to throw you out if you're causing trouble or maybe winning too much money.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. All right, Steve, we're out of time, so thanks again for the chat.
Anytime, FiST Chat fans, let us know what your odds are on making a good decision.
Absolutely. All right, so that's it for this week's episode, so we'll catch you next week.